They never imagined that the footage would be discovered or that she would be placed in handcuffs. But here we are, Chrissy Lampkin in court, looking stunning, being detained right away, and the reason why a phony pregnancy is so nasty. This isn't just another reality TV meltdown. It's perjury fraud and outright criminal misrepresentation, because when that recording played in the background, it made every love and hip-hop plotline seem like Sesame Street. The gallery gasped when Jim Jones dropped his pen and the judge immediately issued an arrest warrant after hearing her declare, "He'll never leave me if he thinks I'm pregnant." The most outrageous part, according to sources, is that it may be a desperate attempt to keep Jim close, a perverse strategy to remain relevant following the Dipset collapse, or something even more premeditated connected to Cameron's betrayal and the VH1 backroom negotiations. Pregnancy lies weren't just sentimental, they were also commercialized. Yes, we're talking about brand deals, interviews, and a whole plot based on a fake baby. This isn't just untidy, it's illegal. The court wasn't just full, it was sweltering, and the air conditioning couldn't keep up with the heat. Chrissy just went from reality star to reality check. If you think this is terrible, wait till you hear who leaked the footage. Everyone could sense the tension that was building, but nobody, not even Chrissy, was prepared for what was about to happen. She entered wearing her usual chin-high attire. Her eyes were loud, and she had fancy sunglasses on. Nothing to conceal. But she was unaware that someone had produced receipts, this time from a burner phone and a microphone, not Fashion Nova. And the courtroom clerk murmured something to the judge, who nodded once. "Your client might want to hear this before she continues," he remarked, turning to Chrissy's attorney. He then gestured the bail, and a flash drive was plugged into the courtroom sound system. A file called Lampkin Unedited MP3 started to play. The courtroom exploded in gasps, hands over mouths, and even a frozen stenographer as Chrissy's cool, collected voice said, "No, I'm not pregnant. But if I say I am, he won't leave. He'll stay. He always stays." Jim Jones sat motionless, staring. At the bench in front of him, as if it would suddenly open up and swallow him whole, his typing suspended mid-word. The judge then moved closer and asked, "Manin, is that your voice on this tape?" "We'd like to request a private review of Too Late." The judge had already signed an arrest order right there in open court. No commercial break, just cuffs, Chrissy's lawyer said since she didn't speak. However, how did we even arrive at this point? To comprehend it, we must go back 8 months ago, when the first online rumors that Chrissy was pregnant again began to circulate. Bloggers were ecstatic about Jim's impending baby Chrissy shining in Harlem. The Jones family is starting a new chapter, and VH1 even hinted at a surprise announcement in the next season of Love and Hip Hop Secrets Unlocked. I'm not claiming I'm pregnant, but I'm also not saying I'm not classic Chrissy bait. However, behind the scenes, there was no scan, no OB/GYN, and she gave away clues like breadcrumbs whenever she massaged her stomach on Instagram stories. Obviously, no baby, but there was a screenplay, a meticulously crafted plotline designed to elicit empathy, gain further film time, and keep Jim still while Dipset collapsed all around them. Since Cameron had just revealed the truth about his relationship with Chrissy at that point, calls, emails, and even a beach photo, the internet was in shock, and Chrissy needed to quickly change the course of events. Insiders claim that she used the fictitious pregnancy as a power move to keep Jim close. According to an unnamed source from BH1's production crew, he may have been upset, but if there was a baby, he wouldn't leave. What she relied on, and initially it worked. Jim began to return, and he was seen going house hunting with her. He even shared a grainy picture on social media with the caption, "Blessings on blessings." Chrissy's brand partnerships increased as fans thought it meant a baby was on the way. One vitamin company allegedly paid her 5 figures to post a phony pregnant update, while another skincare brand made her there. The real trouble began when she got careless and a video from a behind-the-scenes shot for a Love and Hip Hop episode leaked, showing Chrissy sipping champagne at first fans. Glow ambassadors even began sending her direct messages. Ignored it, saying it might be apple cider, but then the voice memo tape appeared. According to reports, Cameron had the cassette the entire time, and when the courtroom turned against him, it was not a casual recording but rather a calculated act of blackmail. Cam handed over the video that was initially recorded late at night, when Jim's son chose to put Chrissy under the bus during his emotional testimony. He reasoned that if he's going down, he's taking everyone with him. Chrissy's phone call, in which she vented about how to regain the narrative, was brief, just under 2 minutes, but it was enough to shatter her entire world, and now the public is in a panic. She had no idea that he was recording the voice memo. To determine the extent of this deception, was Jim truly duped? Was he aware of it? Or was he only another piece in Chrissy's desperate attempt to gain influence and legacy in a plot that had lost its appeal years prior following the arrest? Courthouse security attempted to discreetly accompany Chrissy, but it was hard because of the cameras around. One journalist yelled, "Are you truly pregnant, Chrissy?" The most outrageous aspect was when her own publicist stood on the steps outside and muttered, "There never was a baby boom." By the end of the day, Yarn faked it. Another was that it was all for VH1, memes like Cruel Chrissy photoshopped into baby showers with empty cribs, a phony baby register listing screen time and attention as the top gifts, and Jim Jones cradling a fictitious baby looking were all popular during the pregnancy queen movement. Perplexed, but the worst part was that Jim never arrived at the jailhouse, not for bail, not for backup, not even for her mugshot. The silence in the courtroom was louder than any gavel, as Chrissy sat in a chilly holding cell and Jim apparently left New York once more, this time permanently, wearing full makeup and betraying everyone. Rumor has it that he is shutting off all communication, but what will happen next? What additional agreements did Chrissy sign under this? Believe me, this goes deeper. They booked her on her official name, Christine Lannon, which has no reality star glitter, love, or hip-hop. What cases are pending? Who else knew this was a hoax the entire time? As she sat there with her cell phone confiscated and her lashes still intact, the world outside was falling apart due to the confessional illumination, which consisted of only a cold metal bench, fluorescent light, and the sound of a steel door slamming shut behind her. Sources close to the prosecution claim that the recording wasn't the only piece of evidence that came to light that day. Screenshots from a private group chat were leaked just hours after Chrissy was arrested. Yes, you read correctly. In this discussion, Chrissy, a VH1 associate producer named Morgan B., and someone saved as CC Cam, who is thought to be Cameron's assistant, exchanged the following messages. Pure scandal gold, Morgan B., we'll shoot. Chrissy got it. I'll wear flowy skirts and stroke my belly while talking heads see Cam Jimmy. He won't know what hit him. Let that sink in. The revelation in Miami just required her to act emotional and declare she missed her period. One message even described a plan to involve Jim's mother in the story. Chrissy, I'll get Mama Jones to start posting. They were creating a mini-series of false reactions, fake tears, and fake positive test props. A leaked Venmo transaction revealed a payment branded storyline incentive from a VH1 connected account 2 days after Chrissy's purported bonus for sticking to the deception about grandbabies that will sell it worse. By now, the public's confidence in Chrissy had been destroyed by her initial on-air pregnancy tease. Jim had yet to remark or make an appearance, but guess who did speak up? Mama Jones went live on Instagram while wearing a scarf. I always knew that girl was full of games, he continued, smoking a Virginia Slim. I haven't seen any baby bumps, clinic visits, or anything else. Jim, you really need to wake up and get over that drama. She wasn't alone. Chrissy Dunn played herself out of the entire family, but wait for this next time. Supporters showered her comments with words of encouragement. We've been waiting for you to speak, Mama Jones. You always kept it real. A former Love and Hip Hop editor anonymously shared a 3-minute unused clip from a scene that never aired, showing Chrissy backstage after filming a confession. This was the section that truly rocked the table following the group chat leak. She removes her microphone, sighs heavily, and murmurs, "Damn, I hope no one asks for proof that I can't fake this forever." Her own confession is captured on camera in an uncut but incredibly genuine moment, and the video becomes viral. Within an hour, Shade Room reposted it with the title, "Faster Than Fire TMZ," and even Cardi B remarked, "Led this tea is boiling." The storyline was no longer Chrissy's fiction. It had become who assisted her in lying and why, which leads us back to Cameron. It turns out that he wasn't merely a helpless bystander in this mess. According to anonymous testimony, Cam allegedly provided funding for a portion of the fraudulent pregnancy rollout documents revealed that Chrissy's well-known company, Purple Haze LLC, paid a PR firm directly to develop narrative internet blogs, with subtle hints and plant stories that hinted at. One blog post that appeared during this campaign said, "Sources say Chrissy has been quietly undergoing IVF treatments hoping for a miracle baby." Yes, they even went so far as to fabricate a fertility crisis in order to humanize the lie. The script called for Chrissy to have a fake comeback story with Jim in order to repair her reputation following the Cameron affair scandal and maintain the Love and Hip Hop audience's emotional investment. But now the audience wants public remarks, grew nasty, and she weaponized motherhood, which is unacceptable, by lying about her past and not dramatizing her pregnancy to win sympathy and get her locked up. That wasn't enough, so the FTC intervened. Chrissy used her pregnancy to market prenatal vitamins and baby-safe skincare products, and now those companies are being sued for deceptive advertising, which means they're turning to Glow Mama Naturals. Put out a public statement saying, "We partnered with Miss Lampin in good faith, and we are shocked and disappointed to learn the pregnancy was fabricated." One company was suing her, pursuing legal action, thus Chrissy is now facing civil cases, brand blacklisting, and even fraud charges for lying about her medical condition, in addition to public humiliation and incarceration. The judge has already set an urgent evidence hearing for financial gain, where Chrissy and the producer's public relations representatives are expected to be cross-examined under oath. Jim has yet to comment, although our sources claim that he is actually cleaning the property. His crew allegedly arrived at the flat where he and Chrissy had shared and took out everything that had her name on it, including her clothes, dog food, and photos. With the message, "You're done," but here's the twist that nobody anticipated. Just before Part 2 concludes, we have exclusive information that there is another tape that is far worse than the voice note phony pregnancy. This video, and in addition to Chrissy speaking, the video shows her discussing the lie with Morgan B. in a hotel room, while phony pregnancy tests are on the table. If the video is shown in court, the judge may increase the charges. From misdemeanor deception to criminal fraud, BH1 would have to cancel entire seasons. Several producers might be subject to federal inquiry, and Chrissy might move from being handcuffed in court to being found guilty and imprisoned. But the worst part is, according to insiders, she didn't act alone. Another lady, a cast member of Love and Hip Hop, allegedly helped her navigate the entire fraud. She is set to be subpoenaed, and the court was set to reconvene at 10 in the morning. I was on time, but by 8:30, a mob had already gathered outside the courthouse, with aunties waving styrofoam coffee cups, whispering, "OJ," and bloggers with tripods and YouTubers broadcasting live. And they were correct. Chrissy feared Roya G. Part 3 of this mess wasn't just a scandal. It was a reckoning, and by mid-morning, Chrissy was returned to court in handcuffs. This wasn't the woman who used to stride across Love and Hip Hop stages, tossing her hair and making decisions. She was wearing a neutral gray jumpsuit with her initials embroidered in, and she looked worn out, her makeup fading, and her attitude gone. Woman with no patience left to go before a judge. But this is where things go crazy. The prosecution requested additional evidence right before the proceedings started, and the judge approved, which is when the hotel video was released. The video, which was released to the prosecution from an encrypted server just hours earlier, showed Chrissy and Morgan B., the VH1 associate producer, inside a suite at the W Hotel in Times Square. A stack of favorable scripts was on the table. Chrissy's voice is heard as she says, "Once we get past the second episode, I'll fake the symptoms the vitamins deal hits after that, and I'll take the pregnancy tests," which obviously prop a folder titled Pregnancy Arc Season 3. Morgan's response was, "We'll cover you if you say miscarriage by episode 6, the fans will back off. Say I'm high risk to skip the ultrasound storyline." The courtroom. The judge remained motionless, staring at the television as if she were witnessing a crime scene unfold in real time. Mama Jones was there. But let's just say she didn't whisper this time. Instead, she got up and yelled, "That's evil, that's right up." The judge hammered the gavel order in court, but Chrissy just sat there, emotionless, crying, and without a defense, since the video proved what she could not say. Before Chrissy's attorney could say anything, the courtroom doors opened and people entered. The judge leaned forward, asking, "Ms. Lamon, are you ready to explain this footage to the court?" A familiar face. Yondandy Smith. Yes, the same Yondandy, who has been at odds with Chrissy for years, who almost got into a fight with her on TV, and who recently remarked, "You believe you are a wife because have they been married for 15 years? Now she was walking into court, subpoena in hand, escorted by legal counsel. Gasps swept the gallery. The media lost it. One blogger literally whispered, "This is Yandi went to the witness box, took the oath, sat down, and then said, 'Yes, I knew Chrissy. Was lying, yes, Morgan helped plan the fake.' This gave the finale energy. Yes, Cameron was aware of her pregnancy. And yes, VH1 gave her a bonus to keep the plot moving. The court went crazy, and even the judge reclined in his chair as if he needed a break. 'I warned producers this would backfire,' said Andy. Advised. Them? It was a horrible idea to use parenthood as a plot point, but they didn't care. They claimed that if the numbers increased, they would win. The worst thing was that they urged Chrissy to stage a miscarriage in case the deception was discovered. I didn't want to go through with it, but I had nothing left. My reputation was gone. Jim wasn't coming home. I had no storyline, no brand partnerships, no proposals, and ultimately Chrissy eventually broke down as tears trickled down her face and her voice cracked. The judge ordered a thorough inquiry into VH1's production practices, opening the possibility for possible network-wide legal action. I believed that if I offered them something dramatic enough, I'd matter again, but it was too late. Fallout. Federal investigators pulled Morgan B. out of court. Numerous producers were placed on emergency leave, and VH1 released a flimsy statement accusing specific people. Decision-making and promising to evaluate internal ethics procedures. But the audience didn't believe it. VH1 promoted a miscarriage plot and canceled them. And Chrissy made up a whole life to Andy might have saved the entire culture by keeping a man she had already lost. Petitioners to shut down Love and Hip Hop gathered over 100,000 signatures in a single day. Corporations dropped their advertisements, sponsors vanished, and Chrissy, the judge, increased the baifs took her out of court as she was charged with felony fraud conspiracy to cause emotional abuse and willful deception for financial advantage. If found guilty, she may serve up to 7 years in prison. Her final remarks were hardly heard. I didn't mean for it to go this far, but Jim hasn't spoken yet. According to sources, he is currently in Paris attending meetings with independent producers for a documentary series called The Last Truth that explores the true story of Dipset Chrissy Cameron and the demise of a dynasty. Although Chrissy may have fabricated a pregnancy, she was unable to fabricate her demise, and ultimately, the lie did not rescue her. Rather, it buried her. She appeared defeated when Chrissy returned to the courtroom, accompanied by 2 bailiffs and a lawyer who appeared to be practicing her plea agreement. The public witnessed what she had become, Not a victim, not a queen, but a headline ready to blow out outside the courthouse. Actual women holding placards that said, "Pregnancy is not a PR stunt. Motherhood is not for you," were queued up on the steps. Not political activists, admirers, former viewers, moms, or survivors. She is locked up by ratings. As Chrissy sat in court, visibly inconsolable, the prosecution presented new evidence, and what had begun as a viral scandal became into a societal discussion. A wire transfer receipt from Cameron's company account to an offshore consulting firm, dated 2 weeks, prior to Chrissy's online pregnancy announcement, and with the following transactional purpose: $60,000 for a narrative creation charge. The crowd exploded once more, and even the courtroom guards appeared astonished. Of course, Cameron wasn't there. His team said he was traveling, but insiders claim he has been covertly preparing his defense since the initial arrest. But that wasn't the end of the story, since the judge asked if Ms. Lampkin had made money off of the purported pregnancy plan. The answer was overwhelmingly yes, and the PR firm's reality rolled in. Podcast appearances, show producers' supplement brands, and a reported book agreement for Forever Yours Maybe, The Chrissy Chronicles, which promised to uncover the secrets of survival, love, and loyalty. That book never-written deal canceled within hours after her arrest. And the publishing house even released a statement saying that they do not endorse false narratives that undermine public confidence. Then came the last testimony, which did not come from Jim, Cam, or Yandandi. However, after old emails between Trina Bell and Chrissy were discovered in the VH1, she was subpoenaed by one of Chrissy's former best pals. Trina Bell was a background cast member on Love and Hip Hop and is currently a hairstylist in Atlanta. When Jim gets upset, Chrissy said in one of the archive server emails that seems like a strategy to control not just Jim, but the entire franchise. "If I hit him with the pregnancy plus that old Cam drama, he'll snap, out of remorse, marry me." Trina had retorted, "He won't know until it's too late, even if it's fake." In response, Chrissy said, "I'll have my season, my ring, and my heritage." The judge lost it and slammed the gavel after seeing the emails were terrible not only for Chrissy, but also for the entire business that helped make her famous. He then declared "This court believes what we're seeing is not just personal deception, but systemic exploitation," reports the official federal ethics investigation into VH1's production unit. Cue Chaos producers. Morgan B., the associate producer, who was captured on camera in the hotel, was immediately arrested for conspiracy to commit fraud and unlawful tampering with public narratives. Chrissy remained silent throughout the scrambling VH1 representative's departure. She sat there with the weight of every camera, every falsehood, every brand agreement, and every direct message raining down around her. But she didn't cry or plead. Then, the decision was made that Chrissy Lamine would be remanded without bail pending felony accusations of Mama Jones faced a possible term of 8 years in jail for her deliberate emotional fraud, financial deception for commercial gain, manipulation of television content, and obstruction of contractual ethics. On the steps of the courthouse, and declared what everyone was already thinking. I attempted to persuade him that she loved the lights and never loved Jim. Jim hasn't returned to the U.S. yet, according to sources, and he's been off-grid. The engagement that never ended, a working title for what insiders say will be the largest tell-all documentary series reality TV has ever seen, is reportedly going to capture everything from meeting with independent filmmakers in South Africa. In the midst of the turmoil surrounding Dipset's implosion, Cam's treachery, Chrissy's manipulation, VH1's internal corruption, and the emotional toll of 20 years of being in love with a falsehood, Cameron's name has reappeared because, guess what? According to reports, Cam boasted about the phony pregnancy plan in text to another reality star Erica Mena on the same encrypted server that leaked Chrissy's hotel film. If that footage is released, then the entire situation is likely to be exposed. Turns into a multi-show, multi-star network catastrophe. VH1 might not make it through, and the franchise might burn. But one thing is certain. Chrissy was never merely acting. Rather, she was causing her own demise in real time, with no script. To save her because the cameras are rolling for court rather than a season finale for the first time in her career. After all that, do you think this was just a desperate lady, attempting to cling to a collapsing love story, or a cunning manipulator who used pregnancy as a means of making money and causing suffering? Chrissy Lamon not only lied to Jim, but also to all of her supporters and to all the women who believed her narrative was one of strength. Not a plan, and there was no turning back once the tape played, the hotel video was released, and the phony baby tests were presented in court. However, perhaps the more important question is not why she did it, but rather who assisted her and why they. Everyone remained silent, including VH1 Cameron, the producers, the brands, who saw the lie, sponsored it, packaged it, and sold it to you. What will happen next? Will Chrissy actually go to jail? Will VH1 ultimately turn off the lights? Does Jim ever say anything? Is this the beginning, or is this the truth? Of anything more sinister, stop thinking about it. What do you think? Of Chrissy in the comments? Jim just deserves jail time. Collateral harm, particularly in the event that these networks should be held responsible for changing trauma into a television show that is similar to click the subscribe button if you're still stunned. If you want to see this legal disaster, in part 2, since there are rumors that another actor is going to get exposed, and it has nothing to do with it's about blood, baby. So pay attention because the truth always comes out.